Hey everybody, my name is Patrick and I'm the founder of FieldWorks Software. In this video, going over DisplayWorks version 2.1, which is releasing in February of 2026. There's a bunch of new improvements, including some new UI stuff. There's availability with Stream Deck. We've got a new lap counter and a jump board. And then most importantly, we've got a whole bunch more streaming options that allow for a much more broadcast style point of view. So we're just going to kind of dive in. First of all, you will see on screen, we have a virtual Stream Deck running. There is a Stream Deck actual plugin that's available on the fieldworks.app website on the downloads page. And that is not currently finalized. So it's version 0.9 or something like that. I'm hoping to add a few more things over the next 6 months or so. But for the most part, there's a huge amount of stuff that you can do through a Stream Deck. And right now it's running just virtually. It can, of course, run on an actual Stream Deck itself. But the nice thing is you could actually install the virtual Stream Deck on a whole bunch of your machines that are out there. And you wouldn't have to plug in a physical Stream Deck if you do not want to. You just need to have it on from like sometime in the last 60 days, I believe, and that options the virtual Stream Deck to be available on that computer. So there's a whole bunch of things that can be done. They're all kind of color coded, so you can see what's actually happening, including you can change a whole bunch of the styles. So we'll go and we'll send some test data, and you can change the style remotely. And then you can actually change the source and do a bunch more things. And you can toggle wind, it's not available there, and then toggle the board. So basically the Stream Deck on a remote computer needs to run in conjunction with a program called DW Remote, which is totally free. DW Remote can then make the remote call to actual the DisplayWorks computer that you're running on. But this makes it available, in a physical form for maybe a director who's doing a broadcast or something like that. You'll see when we talk more about the streaming stuff, how it really integrates quite nicely. And the reason that this was brought about is that I actually need this later this year. We're doing a bunch of meets that are going to be on ESPN3, and being able to do a couple of new and fancy things that are a little bit more broadcast oriented with what you would see if you were watching a really high-end track meet. It's certainly, I think, a reasonable pathway to handle. So the Stream Deck stuff was nice and fun and interesting, but it is actually super useful. So let's go first to the lap counter, because I think this is a very neat little part of the program. I included this because, first of all, it actually wasn't that hard to get up and operational, but there are a couple times where this would actually be pretty useful for me if I have some spare panels around. Just there are certain cases where we're doing maybe kind of a distance carnival oriented thing, and it's reasonable to have this up and available. Now, if you were very clever, actually, you could put this on screen with any number of the boards, just being mindful of where it might be on screen and whatever. But you could use this in the multi setting to have a links board here, and then some of the LED panels with the lap counter on them. But it's up to you, obviously, but I just thought it was a neat little project to include. And you can see we got a couple of things available here. If we go lap down, we actually can clear the screen entirely from 0, and then we can go back lap up. And another thing that I thought was kind of nice is having time from both links, eagle eye, and flash timing available. One thing that I've often seen with officials that at least I work with is if they walk away and they're supposed to be doing laps and they come back and they're not exactly sure where things are in the race, this would make it available to them so that they could see, we're 2 minutes into the race, they must have X number of laps to go. And of course you can play with the sizes and everything on this and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. You can add more panels or less. You can change the the colors and everything. It's relatively simple. Also, from available to do changes from the Stream Deck and DW Remote both. Now, the truth is, if you don't need the Stream Deck, all of the functions in the Stream Deck are available within DW Remote, just FYI. One thing that is coming back right now is the jumps board. I'd still probably say it's basically in beta, but I am working on it, and there's going to be some additional improvements in the near future. What we have on here is panels that you would maybe have at the long jump or the triple jump in order to display distances therein. In this particular case, we've got it set up for English and left to right. You can change the screen size. And then you can change the primary line displacement that shows you where that first line is actually going to be on screen. And thereby you can set up where 15 feet is. So you would be out there with the tape measure, you would measure out to 15 feet or wherever the first panel kind of shows up. And then you would put that down to make sure that you've got the right distances. Then of course there's a flag. You can of course move it off screen pretty easily if you want to. The flag location, that is one of the things I need to actually tweak in the near future because there's supposed to be an input box where you can say, you can put the text, you can have first place or, meet record or state record or whatever it might be. But that is an available option within the software. And again, some improvements will be coming to this soon, but it is out of beta and it does work and I'm quite happy about it. And so the idea is just you go in and create the board that you would like to have and go from there. And all this saves like normal back to, when you close the program and load it up again, everything that you had done previously will remain. Okay, now where most of the changes have happened is over on the streaming side of things. You can see if you have not loaded this before or recently, this has gotten a lot more complex. The idea is now that, and I'm just going to show it because it'll make a little bit more sense. Create board. So now the idea is that we have a small board and then we can have a large board of results. It will make a little bit more sense in a moment. But basically, what you would have during a race is this setup. Now, not maybe looking like this, but you would have, kind of a smaller set of results on screen and then a time that's running on screen. And then afterwards, you might want to display kind of a large scale version of the results. And so here they are. They operate more or less the same as kind of you would think. But we have a little bit more options, especially when it comes to links. So we can use alternative links and we can hold that source available on the toggle. Okay, so now these are the two most important things that are part of this. The alt link source is basically just another scoreboard. So you go into scoreboards and you set up another scoreboard. You can see on screen here, I had 3 lines. And then we go to the large, we have 8 lines available to us. So that this 8-line scoreboard is a different scoreboard that is than is what is producing results over here. Okay. And then also this is actually going to hold that information in a piece of state basically. So when you call that large board, all that information should be there and available. The only problem is that because of that, there's no availability to show the the kind of test data that we have built into the program, because I think that there's an occasion potentially where somebody is loading the large board for the first time at a meet, and they still have test data on there, and I don't want that to potentially display. So basically, you'll need to set it up or find a way to set it up with some actual data. Shouldn't be that big of a deal because you can do this all in the comfort of your own home. But that is now an available part of the whole structure and everything, that you can go ahead and save that information coming from links, and then you can then call it a lot more easily. Now, all this is doable through the Stream Deck, and I think it makes a lot of sense to set up a Stream Deck, functionality wise, with these stream related guys on here, so that you can call these things a little bit more easily from afar. I really especially think that this is going to be a thing that we have producers, who are doing the live stream actually firing off. But that is an option that is certainly available to be able to grab some of these things and make it look really, really slick. Now, I haven't done anything to make this kind of look good or whatever, but it is something that you can certainly play with. But yeah, the idea is that during a race, this is happening, and then the whoever is doing the live stream can just fire off show large, and then at the end of the race, that is available to them, and then when the next race is coming up on the track, they can go back to this. So. I'm pretty happy with this. This functionality is not the hardest thing that we've ever incorporated, but it is I think a nice little tweak that is going to be appreciated by directors. So there's also been a few changes to DW Remote. That is the free remote software that works in conjunction with DisplayWorks. I've had to make some updates so that it can actually work with the Stream Deck. Basically, this toggle allows you to then use the Stream Deck. If you weren't doing it on the same computer, you would be able or need to use this Stream Deck in order to not send something twice, basically. It's not exactly important, but if you're doing the lap up, lap down thing, it could be quite annoying to always be going one or two laps up at the same time. And then your streaming console, you have the same options here. But basically, you just put in the DisplayWorks computer IP address, and then you can do some changes to whatever you need to on here. So hopefully all that makes sense. I thank you for watching. And if there's any suggestions or things you'd like to see in the program, feel free to shoot me a message. Take care.